While Black Mirror is one of my favourite shows, it's a rarity that episodes of it are an experience I would classify as fun. Usually it's there as a quick fix of sci-fi based melancholy. A fair chunk of it's themed around grief, loss, and how technology attempts to alter all sorts of human experiences in a counterproductive manner. While on the other end, you've got episodes like the National Anthem and the Waldo Moment, which are there to serve as fun little experiments in realistic absurdity, which are then brought back down to earth, of course, when real-world events catch up with them. Side note while I'm here, am I the only one who really likes the Waldo Moment? USS Callister, the opening episode of Season 4, is a unique blend of Black Mirror's presentation of the dark side of technology that appeals to mankind's most negative traits and impulses, combined with the realistic absurdity that defines a show that can be so emotionally gut-wrenching in episodes like Be Right Back, and so fucking stupid when it features a lady literally shouting at a stuffed animal to behave itself. Which is an experience I'm very familiar with when it comes to my own stuffed toys.
I am your master, and you will obey me.
USS Callister is a fun, dark comedy about a spaceship crew being forced into a trashy retro sci-fi narrative by a stereotypical narcissistic space captain who's controlling the events as the player of a highly technologically advanced video game. Which, yes, everyone about to point it out, I also noticed how it's essentially a retread of the basic plot points from the Futurama episode Where No Fan Has Gone Before. And while yes, it deals with similar themes, USS Callister expands on its ideas in incredibly interesting ways. As well as being a funny, weird space opera about an insane captain holding his crew hostage to his every demand or he'll delete their faces or turn them into horrifying Cthulhu monsters, it's also an introspective look at why we play video games and what we're searching for within that narrative that paints us as the centre of the universe that's all been informed by Charlie's lifelong video game enthusiasm and being a retro sci-fi nerd. And introspection is a bitter pill to swallow, so I don't know how this has gone over with any hardcore gamers in Black Mirror's audience. I found Daly's purpose and drive realistic and very interesting, though I didn't directly relate to it as I don't really play video games that much anymore, and when I did, I was never really the type of player focused on power fantasy. Whenever I'd play Fable, I'd always do what I thought was right because I couldn't conceive of doing the evil thing, despite the fact it didn't matter because it's fake and you can just do whatever you want. And although the Metroid Prime series essentially sees you invading innocent creatures' natural habitats and blasting the shit out of them, and I loved those games, the reason that I played them was more for the exploration than the catharsis of shooting shit. I'm a softie at heart, and even in a fake setting, it's just not how I'm wired. And I suppose I am viewing this experience of watching someone like Daly who does come to video games for that reason from a distant David Attenborough watching the gamer through a set of binoculars type of perspective. Although coming from a nerdy background in general, I did believe Daly's characteristic drive because traits I've seen and, yes, indulged in myself to some degree in the Doctor Who community, the self-importance that comes with an encyclopedic knowledge of a franchise, escapism does allow us to express a more authoritative and confident side of our personalities that we're too shy to express in the real world. There's a duality involved in the process of playing video games, and USS Callister explores the damage that can do when you rigidly separate those two sides of your personality, but then you bring elements of that outside world into that safe place where the alternate darker side of yourself exists and is allowed to act in a manner unrestrained by social conventions. Sort of like how your girlfriend might stare at you in horror the first time she sees you playing like a manhunt game or something. USS Callister's essentially that awkward moment distilled into a narrative. Yeah, it's just video game violence. It's not real. It doesn't say anything about me deep down inside. While Season 3 of Black Mirror was mostly dedicated to the common theme of the ways in which technology can be used to alter human behaviour and exploit it, the technology in Nosedive is brought in and humans adapt to the new world it creates, the characters in Shut Up and Dance, Hated in the Nation and Men Against Fire are either corrupted, enslaved, blackmailed or changed in some way by said technology. In USS Callister, however, the technology's more sinister side is created by the player. That drive to dominate other people was already there, and when channeled through technology comes out in horrible ways. No one's been changed by the technology on display here. The technology exists to allow an articulation of something deep inside Daly. The way the narrative flips between the game world and the real one works wonders to stress just how differently two sides of essentially the same person operate. Giving NPCs in the game narrative autonomy, giving them thoughts and feelings of essentially being trapped in this game, being held hostage to a narrative that they don't want to engage in. It's like they've been kidnapped and subjected to a hostage taker's bizarre game of let's pretend. Or it's like a warped version of Toy Story, say. They're turned into children's dolls, strung up and given no option but to enact this warped narrative. As said, I'd imagine it's a difficult pill for some people to swallow because it's essentially saying that this is how the player looks to a non-player character. We appear cruel, controlling, manipulative and narcissistic because the game was designed to see us as the centre of the universe and because this isn't real. Or so we believe, because in this case the people appeared not to have considered the moral ramifications of the technology they've created. And presenting that from the perspective of the other side of the coin, the played rather than the player, was just a stroke of genius. I guess I love USS Callister so much because it's the distillation of the concept of Black Mirror in its purest form. Through the technological freak show spectacle of the national anthem, the political nihilism of the Waldo moment, the display of dark justice in White Bear, the show exists to hold up a reflection of you in the technology and go, this is you, this is what you are now. Do you like it? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, look at that, yeah, look at it, yeah? That makes sense to you, doesn't it, you idiot? Pick it up. Pick it up.
And yeah, if you don't like what you see, then you might have some serious soul searching to do.